Hello everyone, my name is Noelle Russell and I am a healthy lifestyle coach. My mission is to help empower others to cultivate true health and happiness and wellness in body, mind, spirit, and home. So today I wanted to walk you through something I've been getting a lot of questions on, and that is, what is the 2B Mindset nutrition plan and how does it differ from the portion fix with the color-coded containers? So I'm going to walk you through both nutrition plans, kind of my thoughts on what's really great about them, what you could learn about them, and then hopefully that information will help you decide which one is better for you, or we can chat and I can help you decide what I think is better for you and your goals. All right, both are great plans for healthy eating. Both are structured a little bit differently. So first of all, portion fix, why I think it's great. The portion fix with the little colored coded containers has been around for several years now and started out with the 21-day fix workout program. All right, so a lot of you are familiar with these color-coded containers. What's really great about them is a couple things. Number one, it teaches you portion control. So if I tell you you need to eat protein, it will tell you how much protein to put on your plate. It also teaches you the proper ratio of the food groups. So if I say make sure to eat some protein today, it tells you how many times throughout the day you should eat protein. So it teaches you how much protein, how many times you should have protein, and it also teaches you what the best sources of protein are. So there are food lists that go along with each color-coded container, and you can go to those lists and look at what the healthiest options are that will give you the most nutrition and keep you full are for the different food groups. So it is a really great basic plan for teaching healthy eating, what you should be eating, how much you should be eating of it. In America today, our portion sizes when you eat out are crazy big. And so many of us are so busy with work and kids and activities that a lot of times people are eating out or doing takeout a lot. So our view of what a proper portion size has been very skewed by the huge amounts that we see in stores and restaurants. So it really helps shift your mindset to know what a proper portion size is that should be going on your plate. One of the cool things that I like to do is to actually measure out. So say I'm making dinner and I have chicken and green beans and brown rice. I'll put my chicken in the red container, I'll put my rice in the yellow container, my green beans in the green container, and then I dump them on my plate. So I can see if I have just a regular plate I get out, I can eyeball how much chicken, rice, and green beans I would need. So it's a very great plan from taking you towards measuring everything out to having a visualization of how much should be going on your plate. So really great healthy eating with that plan. What I love, it's a simple plan to follow. You fill out a simple calculation based on your current weight and how active you are and what you're doing for exercise, and you get a calorie range for either weight loss or maintenance, or if you're building muscle. And then from there, it tells you, okay, you should be getting this many servings of vegetables, this many servings of fruit, this many servings of protein. So you go through a simple calculation and it basically tells you this is what you should be eating throughout the day as far as food groups and portion sizes. From there, it's up to you on what you enjoy. So if you only like a small list of vegetables, you can go to the vegetable list and just pick from the ones you enjoy. You don't have to follow fancy recipes or a set meal plan of things that you don't like or your kids don't like. So I love that it's customizable and you can focus on the healthy foods that you enjoy while also trying to branch out and try some new ones. So I love that it's customizable. I have some picky eaters in my family. So it has really helped me build healthy eating for my family in a way that is not torture for them. All right. There are a ton of resources. So if you say, I want to eat, use the portion fix. There are so many resources out there. Pinterest has recipes and meal plans galore. There's the Fixate cooking show that has all kinds of recipes that you can make that fit the plan. The Beachbody blog has tons of articles and recipes and meal plans and meal prep tips on there. So there are a ton of resources to help you with planning meals and meal prep and staying on track. So really great plan. Those are all the things I love about it. The feedback that I've gotten of what makes it maybe to the con list is that it does require time and practice for planning out your meals and tracking. So it's not one of those things you can just wing it. You have to sit down and plan out your meals and make sure you're getting the right containers throughout your day. As you're going along, you really need to be tracking what you're doing to see if you're hitting those containers. So it does take time and effort to get it down, to understand what the containers are, and to plan things out. The other thing is you can have a perfect plan laid out, but if you're not hitting your plan, a lot of people end up feeling guilty or feeling like they're failing at it because they caved and had a glass of wine, or they caved and had a bag of potato chips. So I find that sometimes people struggle when they can't be perfect at it. There's some emotions that come into that of feeling like they're failing or feeling overwhelmed. For me personally, I've been doing it long enough that my feedback on it is I don't always want an orange container and a blue container every day. I don't. I'd rather have 4 more teaspoons of healthy fat. So that's something that I've gotten hung up on. Also, when I'm in maintenance mode and not in weight loss mode, I feel like I am hungry, but I don't need that many servings of the purple and the yellow, which are your fruits and the carbohydrates, a lot of the grains and starchy veggies. I feel like that's a lot for my body. I don't really need that much. So I've gotten to the point that for maintenance, I feel like it's not the perfect plan for me. And I also have come to the realization that every body is different. So the portion fix might work awesome for you, or you might really struggle at it. Every body is different. I think you can learn a lot from that program. I think it's a great basic healthy eating plan for most people. Once you learn about the portion sizes, and once you learn about what foods you should be eating or aren't great to be a part of your diet, then it gets into what is best for you to maintain for life. Because if you don't want to eat the orange container and the blue container every day for life, you're not going to do it. And I think that's one thing is once people go off portion fix and they stop using their containers and they stop measuring things out, then they tend to go back to what they were doing before and then gain some weight back. And then I'll have them come back and say, oh, I need to get back on the containers again. So there's some of that seems like it's more of a diet mentality that some people take of I'm going to do this to lose some weight and then I'm going to go back to what I was doing before. Okay, so that's a portion fix plan. Now, when the To Be Mindset plan came out this year, I was very intrigued to see how it was different, how it compared. And it is definitely structured differently. So like I was saying about portion fix, how it can be hard to maybe maintain. With the To Be Mindset, it's a much more general approach, but it's also a much more personalized approach. So there are set parameters that you use for what kind of food you're eating, how you're planning your meals, but then you're really studying how your body responds to what you're doing. So what foods help me lose weight could be different than what foods help you lose weight. How I need to eat to maintain could be different than how you need to eat to maintain. So it's a really cool plan of studying what works for you and your body, which I like. And then that knowledge you can use for life. If you are doing something and you're losing weight, and you're aware of what you're doing to get there, or you're aware of what you're doing that's helping you maintain, that is knowledge you can use for life. So the To Be Mindset is really about losing the weight, keeping it off for good, and making lifestyle changes. So there's some basic parameters to the program. So there's 4 main things. You're drinking a lot of water, which is something you should be doing for life. You're eating a lot of vegetables, which is something you should do for life. And then you are tracking everything you're eating and drinking throughout the day. And then you're getting on the scale every morning to weigh in. Now, I used to think that getting on the scale every day was very obsessive and people were way too obsessed with their weight. My mindset has totally shifted with that it is really just a tool to measure how you're doing. So if you are focusing on your healthy eating and you're tracking what you're doing and you get on the scale the next morning and your weight goes down, you know what you did yesterday was a weight loss day. If it doesn't go down, then you can learn from that. So you're either maintaining or you're going up, and then you can study, okay, what happened yesterday that might be the reason why it went up or down or stayed the same. And then you use that day by day by day, which is really cool because you can learn what works for you and what doesn't. So there's a basic way that you, instead of with the portion fix where you have your color-coded containers, it's a little bit simpler that the food is broken down into just 4 categories. So the first one is veggies, and veggies are to keep you full. So you're eating a lot of veggies. The second one is protein, and protein is veggies are to make you full in the first place. Protein is to keep you full until your next meal. And then what I personally think is really cool is the next category is fiber-filled carbohydrates. And that includes your fruit, your whole grains, your starchy veggies, and your beans and legumes. So I love that the purples and the yellows are grouped together, because that means for me, I don't do well on a lot of grains. I have found that gluten is it's inflammatory. It just does not make me feel good. So I don't like to eat gluten and a lot of grains, but that means I can choose out of my carbohydrates for energy, and you're using fiber-filled carbohydrates, so you're not getting sugar spikes and your blood sugar going up and down. It's really focusing on foods that are going to give you energy and keep you stable, keep your blood sugar stable. I can choose to have fruit or beans and not feel like I have to fit in so many yellow containers throughout the day. So for my body, it works much better. And then the fourth category is accessories. And basically accessories are things that make your meals pop with flavor. They are things that just make your meals taste better and help you eat more vegetables. So if you have a big plate of pepper slices and you want to dip it in some ranch dressing, that's totally cool. That would be an accessory. And you would measure out how much ranch dressing you're using and you would track it. So that's it. And then you have a basic parameter for each meal. So at breakfast, you plate your meal according to some percentages of the plate. Lunch is a little bit different and dinner is a little bit different because your energy needs and your macronutrient needs are a little bit different throughout the day. But basically you say, okay, at lunch, I know I need to have veggies and protein and carbohydrates. And then you go to the food list for each. And there's a list and parameters for those things, and you plate your meals that way. So I feel like it is a much more general approach and not so stressful. It's something that you can do on the go, because once you understand the parameters and you know how to plate your meals, if you're out at a restaurant, if you're at a picnic, if you're at a party, you know, okay, I need to get something that's a vegetable, and I know I need to get a protein, and I know I need to have this much water. I just think it's a really easy plan to follow on the go and then just track what you're doing. And then there's a bunch of resources. So it comes with a bunch of videos where the creator goes through the food groups and goes through how to plate your meals and goes through what to do when you're eating at a restaurant, tips for every style of restaurant you could go to, tips for what to do when you're traveling, when you hit a plateau, all of these things it talks about in these different videos. So it's really like a nutrition study, and then you apply it to yourself and study what works for you and what doesn't. And then there's a bunch of printed materials and digital materials. So there's a tracker book that you can use that's really cool, or there's a printed or a digital copy. There are things to use for grocery shopping. There are things to do when you're eating out at restaurants. There's all kinds of resources that come with it to help you with plating your meals. And I think one of the cool things is that it takes the emotions out of emotional eating. So if you want to have a glass of wine, have a glass of wine, track it. What time of day did you have it at? How much did you have? Just track it, enjoy it, and move on. And then the next day, if the scale went up, then you could say, okay, maybe I had too much. Or if the scale stays the same after you had the glass of wine and the cookie, you're like, okay, that wasn't a big deal. So it takes that guilt and that emotion out of having to feel like you have to eat perfectly, or if you do choose something that's a treat, that you're failing at it. It takes the emotion out, and that's a lot of what the program works on, is that emotional eating aspect, which a lot of people struggle with. And then it's also been interesting for me as a woman to track, I've been doing this for several months now, to track how, you know how sometimes the scale just goes up or your pants feel a little tighter and you're like, what the heck? I'm doing so well. It has been interesting to watch the scale and how it naturally progresses throughout the month based on where my hormones are going. And all of us women have to deal with it, which kind of stinks, but it's been interesting to watch a repeatable pattern month after month of how that scale is impacted by my cycle. So that's a really cool thing that I don't think I ever fully understood before, that now I see the scale go up and I'll be like, oh, well, look at the calendar. That's why I know that that's happening. So no big deal. I just continue on. Instead of feeling like, man, here I am killing myself in the gym and eating so healthy and the scale just went up. It takes that out of it to know, okay, this is why the scale went up. No big deal. It'll go back down in a couple days. So I like that too. So it really gives you a lot of knowledge. It's really, they're both about healthy eating. The one downside to the 2B mindset, I feel like feedback is it's not very structured. So if you are somebody that needs to have it laid out and know exactly what to do, sometimes people feel like there's not enough structure to it. You do have to be disciplined to track what you're doing and get on the scale every day. But if you commit to those simple things, it is such a maintainable plan for life. And that's really what I'm all about, is helping people change their habits, change their lifestyle so that you can lose the weight, feel great, and keep it off for good. What is the point on going on some strict diet, losing a bunch of weight, just to go back to how you were before and gain it all back? You really need to learn how to navigate social settings and not feel like you're derailing yourself, how to navigate traveling and vacations and all of that stuff and still eat healthy. It's possible. It's totally possible. So it really helps just kind of squash all of those excuses that people have for why they can't lose weight and keep it off. So I love both. For me personally, I kind of feel like a hybrid plan of both is the best thing for me. 2B mindset I really love, but I tend to use the color-coded containers and measuring things out for things that are easy to overeat, like peanut butter or your olive oil or any kind of carbs, like rice or bread or those kind of things. It's kind of like a hybrid between the two. But what I love is that I am tracking what I'm doing versus having to plan everything out. I'm just simply, I have my parameters in place, I have a general meal plan, but then I just track what I'm doing, and then the next day I see if it's working for me. So it's been a really great learning tool, and I love it so much that they just came out with a certification program to become a certified mentor in the 2B mindset, and that's something I'm currently going through. So it's additional training on how to coach people through lifestyle changes when it comes to nutrition so that they can lose weight, learn how to navigate life, and maintain the weight loss and just feel great for good. So I'm really excited about it. Both plans are great. I love coaching people and helping people change their nutrition, and I would love to help you if that's something you need. Comment below with any questions you have on either plan. I'm always an open book and happy to help. And if you found this video helpful, subscribe, tell your friends, and if there's anything I can do for you or anybody that you care about, please reach out. Hope you have a great day.